Hi everyone, Reverend Elvia here.
And Reverend Peter.
Welcome to our first official Sunday morning grace of the 2020-2021 season. A lot of 20s in there.
There, we're kicking it off.
We are kicking it off. And our theme for this whole season is the truth is in you. So a very juicy topic with lots of different things that we're going to be discussing. Peter and I, and then Reverend Marianne and Reverend Jamie, and then Reverend Dawn and Carolyn as well. So excited to have you here and talking about this during a time of so much change and transition that it's really important that we stay grounded in faith and stapled to our guidance in the higher path.
Absolutely. And unlike the X-Files, the truth is not out there. The truth is in here.
Yep, very true. So we want to start today because we are still in the middle of so many fires on the west coast of the United States and in Colorado and Arizona and Alaska, and just so much upheaval as a result of that. And we just had Hurricane Laura down in the South Coast, or Louisiana and Mississippi, I think, Alabama. And our daughter also has been working with to help some homeless people in Philadelphia, so our opening blessing, what I'm rambling towards, is our opening blessing is really going to be about holding that space of certainty and safety and peace at home, and being in that space of home, because so many people are feeling this rocking of the foundation of what home is all about. And I think that's very related actually to the topic of truth, and to truth being in here. But we're going to start with a prayer for all those who are really struggling right now and feeling scared and displaced and having trouble just being in body right now. So take it away.
All right, so let's put our hand over our heart center. Close our eyes. Just really feel into your center, your heart center. Take some breaths in and out. And as you breathe in, just sort of feel that your shoulders droop a little bit, your guard coming down, because you're in your temple, you're in your heart center, supported by spirit, connected to spirit. And in that home, you can feel at ease. So a few more breaths in and out, breathing in life and letting out anxiety, fear, irritation. Breathing in life, letting out tension. Breathing in life, letting out fear. One more. Breathing in love, letting out anxiety, anger, frustration. Just feel those walls coming down. You're protected in this heart center. One last one. And let go. Well done. When you're ready, come back to this space and time.
So I have to point out that those trees back there are pear trees that we planted 5 or 6 years ago, I think, right?
Yep.
And I just knew that we needed to do this video down by the pool, and just where the sun's oriented and the light and all of that. Didn't plan on the pears being the backdrop for this video, but it's such a beautiful angel message, because I quickly Googled what's the mystical meaning of pears, and they actually have a lot of symbolism. And they represent longevity, they represent abundance, they represent being supported, because I don't think you can see here right now, but this year in particular, actually, we've had so many pears. Like we had to rescue some of the branches that were almost on the ground because they were so heavy with the fruit. So that feels like an underlying message for all of us as part of this Sunday morning grace. It's just that we are supported, and even we don't necessarily realize what's happening as we follow our guidance. The angels just present these things, these messages, these of support for us that are just beautiful reminders of that love that's always there for us.
Absolutely. And as we were setting up for this, and I looked at myself in the camera, and I'm like, well, this shirt, it's a t-shirt, maybe I should go change it. And then I realized that this is my high school, Moses Brown. I realized their slogan is "For the honor of truth." And I'm like, I can't change it. Angels planned it that way.
Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Wow.
Sneaky little angels.
Right. So, truth. Our plan for the month of September is to share how we are viewing truth and what it is and what we feel it's not. And I want to lay the foundation for everything is that only you know your truth. So regardless of what any of us say on any of the Sunday morning graces, you need to integrate and receive and take on whatever is destined for you, and anything else, just let it go, because only you know your truth. And I think that's probably a really important message to start this with.
Absolutely. That's really what it comes down to, is it's in here between you and spirit, if that's a truth for you or not, or a truth that applies to you, because I don't think it's always about whether it's true for you, it's whether that's a truth that applies to you. Some of you have taken the dowsing with Reverend Elvia, and the angels, as we were learning to douse and playing with dowsing rods, gave us a couple of symbols. If you've done it, you start off with yes or no, kind of getting answers to questions you might be asking. But one of the symbols they gave us was like this with the rods, and they would just go and they would stick. They wouldn't waver at all. And the angels told us that's absolute truth. And I think that was a really interesting exercise for us to do and contemplate, because I think there are shades of truth. And again, what we're focused on is exercising and practicing to bring it back here and get down to that foundation.
Yeah, and we're living in an illusion, so there's always going to be sort of these veils that we need to sift through and sort through, And so, three things that we really want to share with you all about truth today. And the one I'd like to start with is, because there is so much noise out there, different news sources, social media, gossip. I mean, the world has transformed because of the social media platforms, and it's almost amplified these conversations that were happening or may not have been happening behind the scenes, but it's a lot noisier. And so one of the ways that I've helped people to ground when they're feeling like flipped out about whatever news is going on is just bringing it back to, what do you know to be true? And if it's a story about somebody, and I'm totally going to make this up, if it's a story about somebody in Croatia, don't know why that's in my mind, but in Croatia, who did something terrible and you saw it on the news, bring yourself back to, do you know that this is true? And number one. And number two, is there anything, do you play a role in responding to this story? So do you know this to be true? And number two, do you play a role in responding to this story? Because anything else becomes word in my head clutter to your energetic being and to your own connection to truth.
So that's a good point. When I talk about human design, I talk about the strategy of maximizing your journey, maximizing your money, your materials, your investment of effort. And so, as Reverend Elvia mentioned, these cluttering things aren't.
Right.
I mean, we're human, so it's okay in her example that you get emotional, you get angry, or you get mad, or you get frustrated. Why can't people behave better? But in the end, if that's really not part of your journey to respond or do something about it, then it's using up your resources. And the best response may be to acknowledge and let it go. Yeah, that made me angry, but it's not my journey, so I have to let it go.
Right. Right. And if you're guided to take it as even a level deeper of, why did that trigger?
Absolutely.
And is there something in your immediate world that you can respond to? So human design, that brings us to point number 2.
Well, I think it's to bring it deeper. If you're guided to. Because ultimately we talked about sort of the flavors of truth, half-truths and little white lies and that. And ultimately a lot of that I see are filters, that we have a bias or we have a slant or somebody else has a slant or a filter. And ultimately, if it is something for us to be part of our journey, then you really need to bring it deeper. Understand, why do I have that filter? Or do I need to let go of that filter and look at it from a different angle? And that really can only come, I think, if you are willing to do the work and bring it in here.
And from the human design perspective, that has a lot to do with conditioning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're taught these things, which actually brings me to number 3, which is so relevant because the Ancestral Healing Group just met today. We carry stuff from other people, and because we're carrying it, we think we own it. And a lot of times we have inherited belief systems, habits, ways of thinking and being in the world, not just conditioning from our parents and growing up, but also from our ancestors. A trauma that happened 8 generations ago could have been so impactful that it was brought down and you're still carrying it without knowing it. You're executing it in your own way, but it's a story that's with you. So I think, the truth, this is another one of those veils. The truth is really understanding that your home is love. It's always going to be love.
It is. And that's actually one of the ways that you can tell when you're getting closer to the truth is if you were going to talk about it, does that contain love? Is that coming from a place of love? If it's coming from a place of anger or hurt, then again, I think those filters have probably come back in, because, and I'm not saying it's not okay to be angry or hurt. It is. It very much is. It's a very human thing to be. But when we keep digging deeper, we can start to let go of some of that pain. And even if it's a tough truth, present it backed by love as opposed to backed by more negative emotions.
I love that. So I just want to share an example of what we're talking about, because part of our mission is to really help you to put what we're talking about into motion and to really feel empowered to apply what you're learning here. And of course, whatever you're learning from your angels as well. So this morning, I woke up you could say on the wrong side of the bed. Kali, the goddess Kali, was definitely present. I had a bee in my bonnet. And, was feeling very, very righteous about what I was upset about. And I prayed, and I had my morning coffee, and I went for this long walk in the woods and was listening to a wonderful book, Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox, and realized as I was walking and as I was praying and as I was listening that there was no righteousness to be standing strong for, that really this was an invitation for my own healing. So as I asked myself what I was upset about, do I know this to be true? The answer was no, which disarmed that first layer of emotion. Which bringing it to the second thing, which is about going deeper, so what is this about? What is it that's triggering me? Which gave me the opportunity to look at what that was. And then looking at the third thing, the conditioning or the ancestral healing, it doesn't feel so much ancestral, but it does feel like conditioning and response based on habits of the past. And something that I've been working on healing. So I had the opportunity before taking any action to really reevaluate and to reassess and to bring it back to center, because the bottom line is that litmus test is this choice, this action, this response in love, based in love, or not? And so, fresh experience from just this morning, but it feels like a good example to go through those three steps to, or even just go straight to, is this of love? Is it true? Yes or no? Is this an opportunity to go deeper? Yes or no? Is this conditioning from ancestors or past habits? Yes or no? Is this of love?
And we all know that when we practice something and do it over and over again, it becomes easier as we've done it more, as we do it more. And that's, I think, what Reverend Elvia is getting at, is that if you can do the three-step, we'll call it the three-step to truth.
Cha-cha-cha.
It can become easier. And again, that middle point that I made, if it's easier, then, and it's coming from a better place for you, it's going to maximize your journey. And probably the ones around you as well.
And look, we're human. There's a lot that can trigger us right now. And the gift of that is that there's so much healing that we can do. And that's a really, not always fun, but really beautiful thing, is that we have all these opportunities to heal and to grow and to evolve. And when we evolve, everyone around us does. So, benefits everyone.
Be evolved.
Be evolved. All right, should we get to our card for today?
We should. What do you got for us?
So this is from the Spirit Song Tarot by Paulina Cassidy.
Very pretty cards.
They're beautiful cards. I left the box actually up at the house, but I love these cards. And the card that came forward for us all is the Eight of Shells. And it's a starfish. And I love this because starfish are all about rejuvenation. This is quest and renewal is the smaller wording on the card. But starfish can actually, if they lose an arm, they can regenerate, which is pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool trick to have.
It is. So, they call this the starfish is the guardian of regeneration, which feels like a really beautiful way to be entering into the fall season, is that, with a focus on regeneration, because as we evolve, as we heal, we're regenerating. Right?
Shedding a skin or shedding a shell and putting a new shell forward.
Maybe that leg that the starfish lost wasn't quite functional, and the new one is better suited. I don't know.
Super leg.
All right.
So should we share our tenet for today?
Yes.
Our tenet for today is I
that
trust
would be-
it's all good.
That would be my go-to mantra. Even our kids say this, actually.
So going back to the steps, that's a good one for that, like the bridge between that first step. You have something happen, you want to react, and if you just pause and say, I trust this is good, I trust it's all good.
It may suck in the moment.
It may suck in the moment, but that can be the bridge to get you to that second step. Okay, let me take off some of these filters. Let me take off.
Go deeper.
Go deeper.
Right. Right. Beautiful mantra. All right. You ready for the tenets?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We ask the angels, we ready for the tenets? Yes? Getting a yes?
I'm getting a yes.
Getting a yes. All right. I open my heart with deep gratitude and intend today to master my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical energies. I am dedicated to my spiritual practice. I surrender to my soul's purpose through sacred prayer. I own my guidance. I live in partnership with my angels. I serve with a loving heart. I am compassionate in every moment. I trust it's all good. I allow immediate forgiveness. I honor my truth. I listen to the spiritual messages within my physical body. I express myself creatively. I am one with Mother Earth, and
So it is.
And with that, happy September. So much love, many blessings to each and every one of you. And wherever you're at, remember, home is love, home is truth, and that we are praying for you. We understand that this transition is not easy, and we are here for you and holding you in sacred space. Be well.
Lots of love.